Now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, the distinguished publisher, author, and lecturer, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Winds of change are blowing across the country these days, and in the spirit of the times, we thought we'd juggle up the panel a little bit tonight. So I'm sitting up here, and I have the privilege now of introducing a young lady who's introduced me a number of times. It's nice to return the compliment. The beautiful girl reporter, Dorothy Kilgallen.
I'm sure that many of you in our audience and out there watch the Danny Thomas Show on this network. If you do, tomorrow night you have an extra treat in store because our next panelist is going to be on it, Mr. Joey Bishop.
Thank you. And to my left, What's My Line's Easter Bunny, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now the most gracious, knowing conferencier in television, and on Sunday nights he's ours, Mr. John Charles Daly.
Hi, Bennett. How are you? Bennett's aim's been getting too good. Let's put him over there. Well, it's nice to have Joey Bishop back again with us on the panel. And I think interesting to see that as spring comes, we have sort of changed the panel around a bit. And Bennett's aim is often too good, and I'm glad to see him that far away. I must say, for a moment anyway, when he gets a little bit closer, my aim will have improved a bit. And we're up to our old tricks. We have some very nice people with interesting occupations who are here for only one objective, and that is to puzzle the panel, and I think we'll do pretty well tonight. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the show, and we'll meet our first challenger. And now let's meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Bert Burns, right, sir? Where are you from, Mr. Burns?
From London, England.
London, England. Well, it's nice to have you with us. As a matter of fact, I think we have in the audience in the theater tonight 25 members of the Vienna Boys Choir.
They were recently in London.
They were recently in London, as I think I know. Welcome to them, and it's nice to have them in the United States. And I think our country will probably benefit very much from this visit of theirs because it's a wonderful, wonderful choral group. Mr. Burns, you're in the United States visiting, are you?
I'm visiting the North America, in fact, the United States and Canada.
The United States and Canada. Well, it's nice to have you with you. May I present the panel, Mr. Burns? Will you join me over here? You may have seen What's My Line in England. Do you know how we keep score with the cards?
Yes.
All right, if you know how we keep score, we'll just let the audience in the theater and the audience viewing at home know exactly what your line is. Panel, we can tell you that Mr. Burns is salaried, that he deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Mr. Bishop.
Well, all I know is that Jack Parr went to England, and I thought maybe this was their way of getting even with us. You deal in a service and you're salaried. Is it a service that any one of us on the panel would be likely to take advantage of?
Yes, yes.
Would the male sex equally as well as the female sex?
Oh, yes.
Is it a service in which you come in contact with people?
Yes.
Now, do you mean here just generally meet a lot of people, Joey, or in physical contact?
John, I don't mean anything. When I get a chance and he says yes, I just keep going. I don't mean anything.
Well, just so long as this area of questioning is recognized to be broadly answered, why, let's go on.
Well, I said in contact with people. I didn't necessarily mean physical contact.
Good.
I meant in dealing his services. Hey, wouldn't it be funny, John, if I became intelligent now and you had to listen? I meant it's a service in which he meets people. Is this service that you do, is it rendered in England?
I beg your pardon?
I got him stuck, John. Is it rendered in England? In England? Is this service something that confines you to England?
Oh, no. Oh, it confines me to England, yes. Yes.
I see. It is something you can only do in England.
No. Well,
I mean you specifically.
yes, me specifically.
How about that, John? I saved us $5.
Well, I'm not sure that you have. Would you pose that question again?
I'll tell you what, John, give him 2.5 and pass me.
We'll settle for that.
Let me say this, Joey, only because I don't want you to be misled. Mr. Burns performs a service which, under the current terms of reference, he would perform in England alone. This does not rule out the possibility that if it were his desire to transfer himself to another climate, he could not perform this same service in another climate.
John, talking to you is just like going to night school. Are there counterparts of yourself in this particular country?
Yes.
Have you anything at all to do with travel?
Yes.
Is it a service that you render to people that affords them the opportunity to travel?
Yes.
Wise guy, I'm so smart, I outsmarted myself. Do you in any way deal with either steamship, airplanes, or rail transportation?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go. Miss Francis?
Now you got to think of other ways to travel. Would somebody coming from America seek your service?
Yes, possibly.
Would you be in a position to advise them in any way?
Yes.
Possibly.
Possibly.
If they sought advice, Mr. Burns would certainly be able to give it to them.
Do they, would someone come to you if they wanted to tour? I don't really know what I'm talking about.
It's possible, but I've never done it, in fact.
You've never done it?
No.
Now, we have ruled out steamships, airplanes, and rail. Do people go on foot when they move around with your service?
No.
No. That's 2 down and 8 to go. Bennett, sir.
Mr. Burns, might your services be in some way related to vehicular transportation?
That's correct, yes.
Automobiles?
Yes.
Are you connected possibly with one of the famous British automobile companies?
No.
No. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Burns, do you have any connection with any member or members of the royal family?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Bishop.
Are you in the automobile rental business?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you drive yourself?
Yes.
Would you be considered in any way a chauffeur or driver?
Yes.
May we have a conference?
Yeah, you can have 30 seconds for a conference.
Bus driver.
Oh, I was thinking of a racing driver. Sebring was today.
Well, not with people.
Not with people?
I mean, he'd race all by himself.
Well, maybe he's a lousy driver, and that's why he comes in contact with people.
Well, do you just drive alone, or do you have a co-pilot?
You
Alone.
can't answer, well,
No.
it's been answered.
I'm sorry. He did answer it. Well, is Bennett, who said the driver, racing driver? Do you have anything to do with racing?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Cerf.
No, I asked, and I'll ask again, Mr. Burns, have you anything to do with buses of some any
No.
sort?
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is it clear, Mr. Burns, that you are alone in this vehicle, whatever it is, when you're riding?
You mean at all times?
Well, I got the impression from something he said to Arlene that he was alone,
Yes.
that he did not
That's what
have
I thought.
passengers.
No, there was no question asked that elicited the issue of passengers.
All right, well, may I ask, Mr. Burns, if you sometimes have passengers while you are at the wheel of this vehicle,
Yes.
are these passengers in any way connected with any form of entertainment?
Sometimes.
Could you be employed by a moving company?
No, I'd love to be, but I'm not.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Bishop.
Do you have anything at all to do with driving around visiting dignitaries?
No.
Miss Francis?
Do you have in the car with you anything that is ever not human?
Only the driver.
No, it's possible.
It's possible, yes.
I mean, you could have a lady with a dog.
That's correct, yes.
Are we trying to find out what Mr. Burns drives?
What kind of a driver he is. You've been all around
All right.
the maypole.
Shall I rule out buses? You are not
That's
a bus
been ruled
driver.
out, yeah.
And you drive private cars.
No.
What is the besides buses and cars?
Rented cars.
Can't be a
When you
rented
leave the
car.
theater tonight, I hope all of you have no
Taxi
difficulty
drivers.
finding a cab.
We should have known from the way he was arguing with us he was a cab driver.
Now, Mr. Burns is actually here under the auspices of the British Travel Association.
That's correct, yes.
And it's a part, you know, of the campaign, which we are conducting ourselves in terms of overseas, campaign to get an increase in your tourist trade. And he's going to drive all the way across Canada in a London cab, right?
That's right, yes.
Mr.
Yes,
Burns,
Dorothy.
are those cabs still as large as they used to be, or they become dinky like these horrible cabs we have here that you can't get into?
They're strictly a London taxi, just
Very
the same
tall.
as they ever were.
Considered one with a
They've
top
modernised
hat.
them a little, but nothing to be noticed.
Are you driving alone?
Yes, I'm in North America to invite everybody to come to Britain. Everybody, all, including all them out there.
Well, good.
John, I heard a wonderful taxi cab joke. May I tell it?
Yep.
These two women got into the back of a cab, and they were talking about how much money they thought the cab driver earned and how much money he earned in tips and so forth. And then one woman said, "Where's your ashtray?" And the cab driver said, "Just put your ashes on the floor. I have a woman who comes in 3 days a week."
Miss Dorothy, did you have a question?
Well, I just was hoping along Bennett's lines that Mr. Burns could sell a few London taxis to New York, because they certainly are comfortable, and ours are certainly uncomfortable.
So actually, London cabs are required by law, are they not, to be so constructed that a man with a top hat can sit in them comfortably,
That's
or is
correct.
that legend?
No, they're strictly correct, yes.
That's strictly
Yeah.
correct.
They
Well,
also can turn on a dime, I think.
On a shilling.
Not quite that, but I can turn around in a very small space.
actually, they can turn on a ticky, wouldn't you say?
More or less, yes.
On a ticky, yes. Well, thank you, Mr. Burns. It's a great pleasure to have had you with us, and we wish you much success on your
Thank you.
trip through Canada. Well, panel, I think actually we ought to give you about 80% on that, because you had it, but you kept running all around and running away from it. Let's see what you can do with the second contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Alice McGrath. All right. Is it Miss or Mrs. McGrath? Miss McGrath, and where are you from?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California. Well,
right.
it's nice to have you with us. May I present the panel? Miss McGrath, would you join me over here, please? You know how we keep score?
Yes, I do.
All right, then we'll let the audience at home and the audience here in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, Miss McGrath is salaried, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Miss McGrath, have you got anything whatever to do with show business?
No, sir.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes?
Do both men and women enjoy your service?
Yes.
Is it something that you do indoors?
Yes?
Do you do it in a large enclosure as opposed to a small office?
I think we would have to agree that taking into consideration the average size of a small office, that Miss McGrath performs her service in an enclosure that would be larger than the traditional small office. Would you agree?
That's true.
Miss McGrath, do you come in contact with the general public?
Yes, I do.
Both men and women.
Yes.
Do you furnish them with something that is pleasurable in the way of a service or a product?
Yes.
Is it a service?
Yes.
As a result of what you do for them, do they go anywhere?
I would say here that we have to be a little bit general. The service which they receive would not, except in the narrowest sense, send them anywhere. Do you agree?
I think so.
And I think, Dorothy, with...
Would it send them in the jazz sense?
No, it wouldn't send them in a jazz sense. I'm going to give you a no,
Okay.
because although there is an area of movement here, it, I don't think encompasses the broad grain of the question you asked. Mr. Bishop.
Do you wear a uniform for the service you perform?
Yes, I do.
Is there an academic education necessary for this particular service?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't remember what I said. Is a college degree necessary for this particular service?
No, sir.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you, in the course of your work, ever touch the people that come to you for your service?
Yes.
Would you touch them from the waist up?
Yes.
Could you, do you talk to them?
Yes.
Do you in any way instruct them?
Yes.
Is there something physical about what they do as a result of your assistance?
Yes.
Do they move both their arms and their legs?
Yes.
Is it ever done? Is it ever done to music?
No.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss McGrath, is the uniform that you wear, could it be identified in any way with the medical profession?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is the uniform bifurcated?
What was that?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
May I rule out fencing?
You may.
You are not involved in fencing. Do you teach people anything?
Yes, I do.
If it is not done to music, may I rule out dancing?
You may.
Are the people better off because of what you teach them?
Very much.
Are they physically better off?
Yes.
Do they ever lose weight?
No, this, before you get into areas which possibly will be misleading, they are better off in the sense that they have come to acquire the benefits of a service and have acquired the benefits of a service after a due course of instruction.
Do you have anything to do with boxing or wrestling?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Bishop.
May we also rule out jiu-jitsu or judo?
No.
No. 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
That's it then, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
It has to be either jiu-jitsu or judo.
Yeah.
We want to take one or the other, huh?
Yeah.
Well, if she's bifurcated, I think I'm going to take judo.
You got it. That's very good. That's wonderful. Joey, I give you,
Joey did it.
I give you the white ribbon this trip.
I'll tell you, John, I've gotten so smart with my phrasing of the questions that I keep flunking now.
It takes time. That was very good.
Are you a black belt?
No, I'm a brown,
Brown
A
belt.
brown belt.
Yup, actually.
Black next belt?
So
Is the next belt you get going to be black?
Miss McGrath is with the Bruce Tegner
Bruce Tegner,
in Hollywood, and has a brown belt, which I must admit my ignorance of these affairs, but a brown belt is what, equivalent to a secondary
good for a
secondary
woman. That's-
championship. Good for a woman. This means that Miss McGrath can only throw the normal-sized male 35 feet before he lands on his head.
Try John. We've never been able to throw him. I wish you'd try it.
Miss McGrath, thank you very much. It's been
Thank
nice
you.
having you as a guest on What's My Life. Bennett will have an arnica rub and be back in just a moment. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, too. But first, here is a word from our sponsor. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery guest, for which, as you well know, the panel is always blindfolded. Are the blindfolds in place, panel?
Yes, John.
John.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right. Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, the different form of questioning holds one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And we'll begin with Arlene Francis.
Well, that was a terrific reception. Does that mean that you are in the entertainment business?
Yeah, I think you could say that, yeah.
Sir?
Are you appearing in a motion picture that is at present playing on the big Broadway houses or is about to? No, I'm not.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you over 6 feet tall?
No, ma'am.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Bishop.
Boy, this sounds like a voice of a buddy of mine, I'll tell you that. And I hate to have, if it is, I hate to have him say for so short a visit. Are you an all-around entertainer?
By which you mean what, Joey?
Well, by that I mean if they call him up tomorrow to go to work, could he? What do you mean, John? I mean, does he sing, dance, do impressions?
I'm going to have to give you a no, only because the sample you've given us of what you consider an all-around performer suggests that there are 1 or 2 disciplines in the performing art in which our guest might not necessarily be proficient. Miss Francis.
It is not Sammy Davis Jr., if that's what you had in mind, is it? Well, let's pick out one of those. Are you a singer?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cerf?
You are a singer?
Yes, sir.
Well, you're hurting your voice.
Yeah. Have you sung at some of the nightclubs and hotels around New York?
No, sir.
No?
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you then primarily a recording artist?
I do that too, yes, ma'am.
And that's a good answer. I do that too, yes, ma'am. Mr. Bishop?
If this is your regular voice, you got a great racket going for you, I'll tell you that. May we include dancing as part of your repertoire?
No, sir.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you one of the new young singers? As opposed to one of the older singers, like Joe Bishop?
Well, I would say this, with our guest's permission, that we would have to agree that in the relative terms which you are using as a performer, he would be considered one of the young performers.
I mean, as opposed to the Bing Crosbys and the Maurice Chevaliers and the...
Mr. Cerf? Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not Bing Crosby. He couldn't sound like that.
Well, it couldn't be he.
Maybe it's his son.
Could I take a guess for my chance?
Yeah.
Are you Fabian?
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you Gary Crosby?
Yes! Let me say very quickly, because we are running out of time, unhappily, that we thought this was going to give you a lot of trouble.
Dorothy's stuck, John.
Dorothy's stuck with her mask. But congratulations to the panel. You did a great job. And I must say that Arlene opened the door when she was just kind of guesstimating. It can't be Bing Crosby, your good dad, who was such a...
There's a few Snickers out there. I think they tipped
Yeah,
it
that
off.
helps. That helps a great deal when that happens. And, Gary, I might say we all take a great deal of pride in being of the same generation as your father. And we take a great deal of pride in the fact that his sons have followed so well in his footsteps and performed so well.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very much for joining us in What's My Line, and hope you have much more success as
Pleasure,
you go
John.
on. Good to see you. Well, you've done very well tonight, panel.